It's time to put the good in your morning. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Today, an Italian artist makes a mosaic out of Rubiks Cubes.
Well, we can do it one of two ways. We can either look at the fog tracker and the visibility numbers, or we can just show you a tower cam. We'll find out when this is going to burn off from the Skywatch Weather Center.
And we're talking about election grief. That's right. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It starts right now.
Thanks for joining us on the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. As America still awaits a new president, several key states continue to have a razor-thin margin. Well, one major state sees Biden take the lead overnight. Just this morning, Joe Biden took the lead in Georgia, but that race still continues to be incredibly close. Arizona and Nevada continue to remain a close race, and President Trump's lead in Pennsylvania continues to dwindle. In his first address since election night, the president again made claims about mail-in ballots and alleged voter fraud without giving evidence. Democratic challenger Joe Biden called for every vote to be counted and expressed continued confidence he would win. A pedestrian is hit and killed by a semi overnight in Joplin. Police say it happened on I-44 a little before midnight. The semi hit the person in the eastbound lane near exit 6. The pedestrian was pronounced dead at the scene, and there's no word yet on the person's identity or how the wreck happened. Newton County Sheriff's Office is investigating. They're expected to release more information later today. Authorities arrest a 19-year-old man in connection to the disappearance of a 14-year-old missing Joplin girl. Oconomowoc, Wisconsin police made the arrest following Leoa Hardy turning herself in to Wisconsin police after missing since September. They say the 19-year-old man traveled to Joplin in September to pick up Hardy and then drove back to Wisconsin. Charges against the 19-year-old could be filed soon. Hardy was brought back to Joplin and reunited with her family on Tuesday. The Joplin chapter of the RISE Coalition paid for her plane ticket back.
When it was brought to our attention that there was a young girl that really had been found and needed to be reunited with her family, we offered to expedite that facilitation to get that child reunited with safe family members.
Joplin police would not comment on the arrest. Police in Wisconsin say the 19-year-old could be charged soon. He's being held in the Waukesha County Jail. Licensed child care providers in Kansas can apply for new grant money. Funds can be used for supplies or to make adaptations to home or center-based facilities. The state is expected to provide a total of $3.5 million in grant money. Jasper County Health Department reports 2 more COVID-19 deaths. The patients were a man in his 70s and a woman in her 80s. This brings the total number of deaths in Jasper County to 61. Joplin Health Department reports its 38th COVID-19 related death. They say it was a 56-year-old man. The number of coronavirus patients in Missouri hospitals reaches another record. The 7-day average for hospitalizations reached 1,672. That's 97 more than the previous record set a day earlier. In his news conference yesterday, Governor Mike Parson urged Missourians to be safe and help slow the spread.
Politics has played an important role in how we've handled COVID-19. When people have tried to make the mask a political issue in the state of Missouri, all across the country. But I want to tell Missourians, that mask is very important. But if you're not doing the remainder of those things with social distancing, staying away from large gatherings, making sure you're not with somebody for 15 minutes, all of those things is really how we're going to get around the curve on the coronavirus.
Newly reported coronavirus cases and hospitalizations reach record one-day highs in Oklahoma. Yesterday, the Oklahoma State Department of Health reported 2,101 new cases and 1,055 hospitalizations. The spike in cases has pushed Oklahoma City area hospitals into Tier 3 of its COVID-19 surge plan, which means hospitals there will request a catastrophic health emergency. The White House Coronavirus Task Force is calling on the state to test more people without symptoms to prevent further spread. Well, Halloween Fright did some good this year. Wolfmans House of Screams donated $300 in canned goods to Crosslines Ministry in Joplin. The haunted house raised the money during the Halloween season. The money was raised in honor of Spencer Nicodemus, who died in an accident at Joplin High School.
This is something that we just have now. It's just an annual event that we do for Nico Night in his memory. So when you walk into our spook house, we actually have a memory. The first room that you walk into, it's our memory room, and we have a picture of Spencer there for his memory.
Wolfmans has been doing the fundraiser for 3 years. A Joplin park officially has a new feature that'll allow kids and families to stretch their legs and their minds. The beneficiaries of that feature helped unveil it today. Well, actually yesterday, with a ribbon cutting. It's a new story walk at Leonard Park. It features pages of a storybook along a walking path. How cool.
And something like this just brings people to your parks one more time. Kids will be coming through here all the time. I can't wait to team up again, and because we do have some other parks that we can do similar projects like this.
The project was spearheaded by One Joplin. An Italian artist, Giovanni Gontardi, spinning, twisting, and manipulating Rubiks Cubes every 7 seconds. Well, by doing that, he transformed a huge 18-foot by 12-foot wall of Rubiks Cubes into an intricate work of art.
Whoa. You brought the thunder on that, Reed.
I did, I tried. The mosaic depicted the Greek god Atlas holding a giant Rubiks Cube.
What?
Gontardi says his efforts came at a price. Snagging a new record time was worth it. Gontardi's actual creation time was an impressive 15 hours, 49 minutes, and 32 seconds. He didn't just solve Rubik's Cubes, he solved them in style. The stunning display is all in honor of the Rubik's Cube's 40th anniversary this Saturday.
That's cool. That's really cool.
Talk about, you really got to focus for that long.
Just hang with it here. I bet you we get like
it.
an overhead view of what it looks like, because it's pretty neat. Hey, I'm not usually one to look at that. Isn't that something? It's Atlas holding the Rubik's Cube.
That's so neat.
Yeah, I saw this yesterday. Jeez. I thought that was just something else.
Wow. It doesn't even look like Rubik's Cube.
I know, look at the detail that he has in that. Isn't that something else? It's so neat.
That's
anyway,
probably the coolest thing
that was my favorite.
Oh my God, he's on it
at the end.
So he was working on this for over 15 hours.
Do you know how long it would take me to do that?
That's not that bad.
Almost 16 hours.
It would take me 160 years. We would know who won Nevada and Georgia in the time it would take me to finish that off.
Which actually brings up something I really quickly want to point. I consider myself a four-stater. I am originally born in the state of Pennsylvania. As a Pennsylvanian, I would just like to apologize to the world for how long it takes us to count votes in general. I feel like I can represent.
You're gonna beat Clark County, Nevada, so you're fine.
No, it'll take.
Hey, I don't usually do like recommendations and stuff. Have you guys seen Speed Cubers, the documentary on Netflix?
No, I haven't.
No.
It's about the Rubik's Cube, but it's actually not about the Rubik's Cube. It's about a relationship between a family and a young boy on the autism spectrum. It's tremendous. Speed Cubers.
Speed Cube.
Yeah, check it out. All right, guys, I need to talk fog real fast before we go anywhere. We're waiting for this orb that decided to show itself to burn this off. But in the meantime, I do want everybody to get out a little bit early because the fog is going to linger till about 8, 9 o'clock. Our visibility numbers, we're below a mile throughout southeast Kansas. Our southwest Missouri numbers, those are going down as well. A lot of room between you and other drivers. Regular beams, no high beams, please. Now, this afternoon, after we burn it off, we're up into the mid-70s. Gorgeous weekend ahead. Here's our big development, thunderstorms. We'll talk about that in just a little bit, and a cold front coming in on Tuesday. Tanya and Jesse.
Well, up next, how one company does its part to help find the cure for blindness.
And we want to know the food that you go to for stress eating. We'll have those and more. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. We'll be right back after this.
The CDC says it's healthier to share a rental home with close friends and family while on vacation. Airbnb requires hosts to have enhanced cleaning by November 20th, with coronavirus restrictions starting to go back in place, including scrubbing floors, washing linens on high heat, and disinfecting high-touch items in areas such as doorknobs. Experts say this is safer than a hotel or hostel where you're asked to share space with strangers. Women who work outside the home may end up with a sharper memory later in life. Researchers studied more than 6,000 U.S. women aged 55 and older, finding those who worked for pay in young adulthood and in middle age were less prone to memory decline compared to those who stayed out of the workforce. This link remained constant whether a woman was married or single or had children or not. Experts say the findings do not prove paid work preserves brain health. The coronavirus pandemic is a big headache for many of us, literally. Neurologists around the country are seeing more patients complaining about worse migraines from this unprecedented time in our country. Laura Podesta has more.
The pandemic has meant big changes for Vicky Lavolsi. She's had to teach her 4th grade class from home with her own children also learning virtually.
My husband leaves, he's working during the pandemic, so I've been just challenging this all on my own from 6 in the morning till 6 at night.
Vicky suffers from migraines and her debilitating headaches have been increasing.
Stress is a huge trigger for me. I have had a migraine almost every day since we've started back to work, and it just stays here.
Neurologists around the country report more patients complaining of worsening migraines and headaches during the pandemic. Dr. Catherine Hamilton, director of the Penn Headache Program, says stress is just one factor.
Also, just change in routine. The migraine brain likes things to be stable, regular. With the pandemic, things are thrown up in the air, like getting your regular sleep schedule, regular exercise.
If you're getting more migraines, you may also want to take a close look at your work from home environment.
There's certainly increased screen time, and that can be a big migraine trigger. And being on a laptop all day can cause increased muscle tension in the neck and shoulders, which can cause tension headaches or can trigger migraines.
Dr. Hamilton recommends finding ways to manage stress, like practicing mindfulness. Vicky's been doing her best to try to unwind when she can.
Enjoying nature is one of my coping mechanisms. Getting outside has really helped me, and it takes me away from all those stressors.
She says Botox treatments and neck exercises are also working to lessen her migraines. Laura Podesta, CBS News, New York.
Doctors say patients may also be dealing with more migraines because typical treatments that require appointments, such as acupuncture and physical therapy, have also been interrupted in the pandemic. Well, Bradford and Brian Manning are the owners of Two Blind Brothers. It's a clothing company that donates all of its profits to preclinical research for eye diseases. Bradford and Brian use their experiences with the rare eye disease Stargardt to help fuel their mission and company. Two Blind Brothers is currently running its Will You Shop Blind Challenge, sending surprise clothing items to customers for either $32, $69, or $99. That's interesting. All of the profits from this challenge and the entirety of their sales go towards Foundation Fighting Blindness.
That's I thought that the braille on the bottom left-hand corner of that shirt was such a unique, neat idea. Right here.
That's cool.
Watch this. I don't show a close-up of it. Isn't that
Oh,
something?
that's really cool.
Right, isn't that neat?
So they can tell what color the
Right.
clothing is?
Yeah,
or
I
what
think
type of clothing it is?
I'm not going to pretend to. I
mean,
noticed
it makes
it.
sense.
Right,
Why
and I
would you
noticed
have
it
Braille on
in the
it?
video, and I just wanted to point it out because I know that you were reading the script and whatnot, and I didn't know if you saw it. And I just thought that was a really neat part of that story.
That's really cool. Or it might just be the logo. I don't
Too
know.
neat.
I want to look into that more.
That's just great job by them. All right, Tanya, let's jump to our weather almanac on this November 6th, where our temperatures are going to cruise past our average high once again, about the 5th consecutive day that we've done this. Waiting on our sun to help us out with this fog. Need some of this to burn off, and it's going to take a couple hours before it does, as our visibility numbers, especially throughout southeast Kansas, have now dipped below a mile. We're also seeing them get worse in southwest Missouri. So imagine the fog kind of thickening from west to east right here. So please know that even if you're headed out here and you think these visibility numbers are looking good right now, know that you're going to run into it. Now, a Skywatch storm tracker, yeah, obviously our humidity is increased with the fog presence, but don't have to worry about any rain coming down from it. 93%. We'll take. We need to get a little damp in the air. We've been dangerously dry. 54 from the Freeman Health System sky camera in Joplin right now. 48 in Pittsburgh. Carthage already at 55, and Chanute's been our warm place all morning long, already at 57. just be wary of the kids on the bus stop forecast and on their way to school and whatnot. And eventually we'll be in the 60s here by 9 o'clock. Kind of mundane as far as the contiguous 48 goes, minus this low pressure system on the Pacific Northwest that we're keeping an eye on, because this trough right here is going to be able to drop down to the southeast, but it won't be upon us with number one, some thunderstorms, and number two, some cooler air until next week. We're talking about a delightful November weekend here in the 4 states. Highs in the 70s. That's going to be some light nighttime rain. Don't let that change any of your plans. Now here we go. Monday night into Tuesday morning. That's going to be the development. And whenever we see these numbers match, the overnight low matches the daily high, that means that cold front's going to drop through, drop us about 25 degrees on Tuesday. Quick little rebound though. Not going to be too bad at all. Be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this. On the KOAM News Now Facebook page and our morning Insta poll this morning, uncertainty, we know, stresses people out. And with the future occupant of the White House in question, turns out many people are coping with stress eating. Jeannie Mose looks at some of the oddest concoctions people out there have been consuming.
When it comes to a candidate's lead,
it has been shrinking.
But you know what's not shrinking? Most of us. We are shoving, we are shoveling, and we are guzzling. Just one glass, forget.
Votes that have not been counted.
Think of all the calories that have not been counted. People are proudly posting examples of their stress eating, from pie to pumpkin seeds to chocolate pastries to glistening meat. Folks are stress eating eggs at midnight. I don't care that it's ugly. It is a stress eating dream come frickin' true. Odd combinations abound. Tequila and sugar cookies? I combine stress eating and stress drinking into a wine float. Google says fries near me and liquor store near me are at all-time highs in search. Talk about winners and losers. In this house, the election was between cheddar, caramel, and butter. Butter won. But in this case, you can eat the runners-up. Celebrities are stressed like us. Take Chrissy Teigen.
Stress cooking, everything's fine, everything's fine.
Ryan Seacrest posted himself eating onion pizzas, while Cardi B preferred to puff. Even Luca, the Cavalier King Charles Spaniel, overate this fish-shaped oven mitt and had to go to the vet ER, where they induced him to barf up 3 inches of cloth. Talk about returns.
My stress eating has gone from brownies to ice cream to just pouring raw cake mix down my throat.
One person posted, I'm on track to consume 10,000 calories in 36 hours. Is this normal? The Tina Fey cake eating gif was a favorite. Take it out on the cake instead of your political nemesis.
Yell it into the cake.
The person who posted this photo suggested if you put the chocolates directly on the pizza, it saves a lot of time. It takes more than a fortune cookie to predict the future of the election, but with all the stress eating, I may reach 270 before either of the candidates.
Calm down, and then you start to feel powerless, and that is when you need to dip a grilled cheese into the cake.
I don't think I would have known it was Ryan Seacrest unless Jeannie would have told us. It just threw me for a loop there. It didn't look like Ryan. We'll get to some of your Facebook comments in here in just a little bit. Also, KOAMnewsnow.com/vote, our morning Insta poll. What's your stress eating food choice? Right now, 63% of you going with something sweet, 23% with something salty, and everybody else running a distant 3 through 5. We also have Mountain Dew choices for Tanya. We'll give you that backstory in just a little bit. More KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 when we return.
The outcome of the presidential election is still uncertain and could cause stress or even grief for some. KOAM's Chris Warner spoke with an expert on ways to cope with the issues.
Nathan Honeycutt with the Ozark Center's New Directions facility says it's not unusual to experience stress or even grieve if your candidate loses the election.
There's always been fallout with a candidate that you wanted to win not winning.
Daniel Farage says it's not necessarily stress that's bothering him with this election.
So I wouldn't say it's stressful. It's just kind of annoying. It's kind of like, okay, can we just get on with this? We want to know Americans want to move forward, and that kind of more of an annoyance for me than it is stress.
Farage says he's hopeful his candidate will win, but regardless of the outcome, he focuses on his studies, his family, and his faith to get through.
My faith is really what's got me through in moments of strife and tribulation. And I know at the end of the day, no matter who the president is, or if there is no president, it doesn't change that you can't change that. And that's something that really helps me too.
Honeycutt has some advice as well on how to cope with whatever the outcome of the election is or however long the counting process takes.
Remember, take a deep breath. We can control ourselves. We can't control other people or other things or other outcomes. It is what it is. It will be what it is. And my world becomes more about accepting what is than trying to alter or change what is.
In Joplin, Chris Warner, KOAM News.
Honeycutt says it's also good to vent on occasion, and he suggests finding a group of like-minded friends or family who allow you to express your concerns freely. It's time now to honor today's four-state hero, Ermal Brandon, a private first class in the United States Army. He served in Europe from 1944 to 1945, where he served with actor Audie Murphy, portrayed by Paul Drake in the Audie Murphy movie To Hell and Back. Remember that? A native of Joplin, Missouri, we salute you, Ermal Brandon, our four-state hero. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:31. Let's take a look at today's top stories. As America still awaits a new president, several key states continue to have a razor-thin margin, while one major state sees Biden take the lead. And just this morning, Joe Biden took the lead in Georgia, but that race still continues to be incredibly close. Arizona and Nevada continue to remain a close race, and President Trump's lead in Pennsylvania continues to dwindle. In his first address since election night, the president again made claims about mail-in ballots and alleged voter fraud without giving evidence. Democratic challenger Joe Biden called for every vote to be counted and expressed continued confidence that he would win. A pedestrian is hit and killed by a semi overnight in Joplin. Police say it happened on I-44 a little before midnight. Semi hit the person in the eastbound lane near exit 6. The pedestrian was pronounced dead at the scene. There's no word yet on the person's identity or how the wreck happened. Newton County Sheriff's Office is investigating. They're expected to release more information later today. Authorities arrest a 19-year-old man in connection to the disappearance of a 14-year-old missing Joplin girl. Oconomowoc, Wisconsin police made the arrest following Leora Hardy turning herself in to Wisconsin police after missing since September. They say the 19-year-old man traveled to Joplin in September to pick up 14-year-old Hardy and then drove back to Wisconsin. Charges against the 19-year-old could be filed soon. Hardy was brought back to Joplin and reunited with her family on Tuesday. The Joplin chapter of the Rise Coalition paid for her plane ticket back. Lorraine, heavy remains of Hurricane Eta flooded homes from Panama to Guatemala on Thursday as the death toll across Central America rose to at least 19. Forecaster says the once mighty storm, now a tropical depression, was expected to regather form and head towards Cuba and possibly the Gulf of Mexico by early next week. U.S. National Hurricane Center forecasts parts of Nicaragua and Honduras could receive 15 to 25 inches. That is a lot of rain. Mm-hmm. Wow.
And of course, we're talking about, you made the comment earlier, and no, it wasn't a comment, it's factual and it's part of the script. They're not going to receive a whole lot of governmental help in either one of those nations.
That's tough. That is really tough.
Yeah, so if we just get our bearings here, Tanya, on the contiguous 48, I'll take us down to Eta. And it's moved off the coast of Nicaragua right now. And as Tanya said, it's post-tropical, a low-pressure system. But here's the problem with it from the infrared satellite. We see it's going to regain tropical storm force. That's what that icon indicates right there. And then after it makes its way over Cuba, it's going to head toward the Florida Keys and the southern coast of Florida State. And then we're back into the Gulf of Mexico. Now, it doesn't look like it's going to regain hurricane force, but at the same point in time, looking at what it did in portions of Honduras and Nicaragua, it's going to pack a punch there over Cuba and certainly South Florida as well, where we're looking at the Keys probably about Monday early morning. Now, let's turn our attention to the 4 states and the morning threat that we have on this Friday, and that is some dense fog as our visibility numbers below 1 mile throughout southeast Kansas. We're yet to see the sun really take effect and begin its rebound. We have seen our decreasing numbers too through southwest Missouri. So please know, if you're looking over here and you go, oh, it looks okay where I'm going, looks okay where I'm living, it's going to get a little bit worse before it gets better in southwest Missouri. Not too bad at the Freeman Health System sky camera. We've taken a couple shots of this throughout the morning and we've seen a haze, but it looks like it's beginning to clear off down there to the south. 54 degrees is where we stand. Of course, we're going to have the high humidity. That's why we've got the fog. Our temperature is absolutely delightful to start our day, and we're going to make it back into the mid 70s once again. What a run that we're having here for 2020. Like I've been saying, you got to harken back to 2005, the last time we saw a string like this in early to mid-November. 72 on Saturday, 75 on Sunday. Weekend's going to be great. This is going to be our activity from Monday night into Tuesday. Number 1, thunderstorms. Number 2, we're going to follow that up with a cold front that's going to drop us about 25 degrees throughout the course of Tuesday. Be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. And of course, during the course of the pandemic, it's been hard of a number of organizations that rely so much on community support and also community donations. And one of those that we get to feature pretty much every single week, whether the pandemic's going on or not, is the SEK Humane Society. And we're fortunate enough to be joined by Gwen Smalley. Gwen, I want to thank you so much because we're going to talk about an upcoming fundraiser. As a matter of fact, we're going to have it this weekend, and it's a really unique event because you've kind of tailored it to being pandemic safe, if you will. But before we get to the details of it, Gwen, I'd like to ask you, how did you get involved specifically with the SEK Humane Society?
I got involved. I am like a huge animal lover. So I actually have a dog from there, and I just really appreciate the work they do. And so for school, I'm hosting the fundraiser for there because I just really appreciate everything they do, and it's a great organization.
And so you can actually say your dog came from the SEK Humane Society. Kind of walk me through that. How did you find your dog? What's the name and what kind, and what's he or she like?
His name is Uno, and he's a Catahoula Shepherd mix. We saw him they posted a picture of him, and we kind of just went in to like look, not really to get anything. And we just fell in love with him, and we just brought him home. He's a really good dog. He just turned about a year old. And there's a funny story. When we went to see him, he acted like he was hurt, and he was like limping around. And then we went and played with him, and he was just like full of energy. He just wanted our attention to look at it.
Oh, is that him in the background?
Yep.
I tell you what, you can't get better organic television than that right there. Uno,
Yep.
always pining for attention. I absolutely love that story, Gwen. Hey, we've got what's called a drive-through fundraiser coming up. Let's do the particulars of it first, because we're going to do it this Saturday from 10 to 3. Number 1, if you can tell us exactly where it is, pet lovers are going to know, but if you could tell us where it is and exactly how you put together the list of needs that the SEK Humane Society is looking for.
It's at the Ronald O. Thomas Dog Park in Singer Park. And I got the list of needs from Jasmine Kyle, the director of the Humane Society. She said they were really in need for like laundry detergent, bleach, dog toys, kitten and puppy soft food, because it's about to be kitten and puppy season. And there was one other thing.
Garden hoses was on that list.
Yes.
Yeah, garden hoses. And while what Gwen was referencing right there, that's the SEK Humane Society Facebook page. And Gwen was kind enough to actually post that entire list of needs, because there may be some things on there that, we always associate food, but there's other needs that I know that you became very cognizant of, Gwen, and we're fortunate enough to pass those along to us as well. Now, in the midst of the pandemic, you had to come up with a safe way to organize a fundraiser and and still make people feel at ease and the safety aspect of it. So explain to me how this is going to work, the logistics of it, if you will.
So we'll have a booth set up, like a table, and there will be a donation jar and like a tub for you to put items that you're donating. And we did that so that no one really had to be around each other, and they would just drive by and like drop everything off, just to like keep distance from everyone, so no one felt like worried about it, I guess.
Gwen, take me through the specifics once again for this Saturday as far as time, location, and run through those needs for me.
Okay, so it is at the Ronald O. Thomas Dog Park, and it is from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. and people are welcome to drive by and drop off any donations that are on the list or monetary donations. And the items that are needed are garden hoses, dish soap, bleach, laundry detergent, dog and cat toys, and kitten and puppy soft food.
And don't forget, you can find all that information that Gwen just gave us on the SEK Humane Society Facebook page as well. Gwen, normally this is where I would wish you the best of luck, but you clearly do not need it with your organizational skills and the way that you've affected this community. I know it's going to be a rousing success. Is Uno still with you there by the computer?
He is not.
Okay. Oh, he figured he got his time on the KOAM morning news and he took off. Please,
Yes.
please tell Uno a big good morning from all of us here at the station.
All right, I will.
Gwen Smalley, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll have more KOAM morning news for you right after this.
The pandemic has turned school into a virtual experience for millions of kids, but researchers say cyberbullying is still happening, and it's not just among teenagers. Nancy Chen explains.
COVID forced students at this North Carolina school to take classes at home. Sheilyn White says that's when remote learning became a lesson in cyberbullying for her son, Jalen.
Once he started logging into Zoom for his classes, we started to receive messages.
Someone apparently hacked the sixth grader's computer and sent messages like, "I will find and kill Jalen."
He can't understand why somebody would want to bully him, and he really doesn't understand why somebody would want to kill him.
New research finds more than 14% of tweens 9 to 12 years old have experienced cyberbullying.
It affected their feelings about themselves. It affected their friendships.
Professor Justin Patchen with the Cyberbullying Research Center says it's not clear if online bullying is increasing now that kids are spending more time on devices. But another study did find a 70% increase in hate speech when the pandemic started between teenagers during online chats.
The vast majority of kids who are cyberbullied are also being bullied at school.
Patchen says it's important to make sure kids can protect themselves.
Work with them to understand the tools that the app or the game or the site have to kind of thwart online abuse. So do they know how to block somebody? Do they know how to report somebody?
He says it's also important for kids to feel comfortable enough to talk to their parents about cyberbullying when they experience it. Nancy Chen, CBS News, New York.
Well, Flaming Crap Candle Company sells 2020-inspired candles. According to the England-based candle company, 2020's aroma is a mix of 4 layers, including banana bread, hand sanitizer, woody musks, and finally, the Tiger King-inspired budget-friendly aftershave and earthy essence. Good morning to you, too. The first batch of 2020 candles are already gone, but a second batch is on its way and should be available for the holidays. Now, each candle costs a little under $20, and it's a great gift for someone you might not like that much. No, just kidding, but if you try it, let us know. Amazon putting its game face on to package a special anniversary featuring 2 of the video game world's most recognizable characters. The retail giant will honor Mario and Luigi, Nintendo's Super Mario Brothers, and the 35th anniversary of their video game empire. Now, Amazon is featuring the famed mustached plumber duo on specialized delivery packages, and the company also launching a splash page on its website showcasing new products and giving fans a chance to learn more about the beloved game's history. All right, we'll be back with more on the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 after this. Well, the Pittsburgh State Gorillas play their first road game of the season this weekend. On Saturday, the Gorillas travel to St. Joe to face Missouri Western, aiming for their first win of the fall season. Jacob Leonard breaks it down for us and gives us a preview.
The Pittsburgh State Gorillas finally have some game film to look at.
It allows you to identify the things that certainly got exposed on Saturday. Allows us to really regroup.
Pitt State dropped its fall opener 31-26 to Nebraska Kearney on Saturday.
In that football game against Kearney, you have to be very assignment sound defensively to be able to stop the run game that they presented.
You know, obviously it hurts losing any game, especially one like that. But I think some positives that we took away was just our fight. We showed a lot of grit out there.
On the positive side, quarterback Max Sexton threw for 398 yards and 3 touchdowns in his first game in head coach Brian Wright's new offense.
We knew he was going to bring in some creativity, and I love it. I'm excited to learn every day from him.
I got to learn quickly, how he picked up the offense and that this was going to fit his style. And then we saw a couple practices in spring and probably didn't know a bunch then. But once we really got into preseason this September, I knew that he was going to be able to read the coverages how we want him to read them and be able to get the ball out in a timely manner like we like.
Now, the Gorillas take what they learned this weekend to St. Joe, aiming to pick up their first win against MIAA rival Missouri Western.
Really impressed with Missouri Western. I'm impressed with their athletic ability, how well they run on offense and defense and in their kicking game. They have a dangerous returner. They got a great receiver. Their secondary is very athletic, and they're just athletic and physical as an entire football team. Very impressed with them.
State's game against Missouri Western will begin at 3 o'clock on Saturday afternoon. Let's check out the weather with Michael. And Michael, do you know anything? I guess we're continuing stuff election-wise, but I don't know, maybe what's it look like outside? It was pretty foggy this morning.
Foggy!
Yeah,
foggy. It's getting a little bit better. We've seen it kind of ease up a little bit, thanks in part to the sun burning off a little bit, but still our visibility numbers throughout southeast Kansas below a mile here, especially along Highway 400. That's always a problem spot. And here's a key that I want to point out. Carl Junction and Lamar numbers actually going down as we progress through the morning. We've probably got about another hour before we really burn everything off, especially for southwest Missouri. We'll now see our rebound here in the next 10 to 15 minutes throughout southeast Kansas. We saw some haze earlier from the Freeman Health System sky camera in Joplin, looking much, much better right now. So it does ease up as you go down to the south. 54 degrees is where we stand. Obviously the high humidity, the result of the fog. 49 in Pittsburgh, 51 in Monette. Chanute already up to 57. A little bit of cloud cover out to the west. It's not the fog, that's the satellite imagery with the cloud cover, but we remain on the dry side. It's kind of a mundane contiguous 48 minus the low pressure system in the Pacific Northwest that'll play a role for us when we get to Monday and Tuesday. Let's check out what is now a post-tropical depression of Eta, but here's what's going to happen. It's going to regain tropical storm force as it makes its way over Cuba, and then we're looking at probably early next week as it affects the southern coast of Florida and also the Florida Keys. Here in the 4 states for a Friday, mid-70s, sunshine, little cloud cover develops here for the evening, but don't let this slow you down. It's going to be absolutely gorgeous this weekend. 70s on Saturday and Sunday. That's some light rain we're looking at on Sunday. Don't let that affect your plans. This will be the big one. Monday night into Tuesday, number 1, thunderstorms. Number 2, when those numbers match, it means a cold front is on the way. Tuesday, we're going to drop about 25 degrees from the morning into the afternoon and evening. We'll be back and wrap up this edition of the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Here's what's happening today. Americans are still waiting to learn the winner of the presidential election. Ballot counting continues in several key states, and margins in Arizona and Nevada remain razor thin, while President Trump's lead in Pennsylvania and Georgia has been slipping. In fact, has slipped. For 2 days in a row, new cases of the coronavirus have topped 100,000. At least 16 states have just broken hospitalization records. In Iowa, where the 7-day positivity rate has soared to nearly 40%, the head of the University of Iowa Health System says we are in danger of losing control of this pandemic. More than 8 years after the fatal shooting of 17-year-old Trayvon Martin, the newly named Trayvon Martin Avenue has been unveiled in South Florida's Miami-Dade County. Let's check in with Michael with a final look at your forecast.
All right, Tanya, I just want to do one thing really fast before we get to the weather, because we were talking about stress eating on Facebook, and then you needed a Mountain Dew, and they didn't have live wire. It got sold out. There's a pandemic. People came back to work after being at home. Janice McCourt. Janice gets the show. Baja Blast.
I feel your pain, Janice.
Janice, I want to thank you for chiming in. It was a Friday. We were having a good time, and we're going for that live wire. Well, Tanya's going for that live wire sponsorship,
which I would present right now, but there's none in our machine.
Right.
There was yesterday, not the day before. That
right.
means every single one was purchased yesterday.
Then we'll eye that Baja Blast as one as well. Hey, before we get out of here, quick triple boxes, if we could.
There we go.
I want to say congratulations to Randy Kaysen, the former president of Via Christi Hospital in Pittsburgh, as he accepts a new position up at Kansas Health System. Randy, congratulations, my man. All right, Erwin, get us out of here.
Thanks for letting us put the good in your morning.
No news and weather when we see you at noon.
Have a great morning and an even better day.
What's your reason for the laws of William L. Phelan?